down to the wire thriller here between these two Western Conference teams. And the Suns claim the season opener, taking down the Mavericks 106-102.
Hello and welcome everybody into another edition of the Sun Silver Panel, or as we're calling it for these post-game shows, the Lunar Panel. Ahoy, hoy, glad to have you with us. As always, next to me, the Silver Fox, at least that's Colin. Please do not purr at me at almost midnight. Do not do that, Dave. It's Dave King. How are you, Dave?
YOLO.
And then the Carmel Thunder from down under, the man in the box below us, it is Saul Bookman. Saul, how are you, my friend?
Good. It's a little late, but I didn't need a nap like you two guys did, so I'm good.
You're
Dude,
older
you guys
than
have
me.
No idea. I take no nap.
I got kids, man. They're all teenagers. They keep me up all night, man. That's just how it goes. You'll get there someday.
Look. It is when we're recording this. It's 11:45 at night, December 23rd. After the Suns' big season tip-off win against the Dallas Mavericks, 106-102. You saw the ending clip with the great Kevin Ray on the call there from our friends at Fox Sports Arizona. Look, I'm just going to come out and say this, and I said it on Twitter, but this was a Steve Buscemi win, right? This is ugly, and that's fine because if you want to be a good team, you got to win ugly sometimes, especially when you're playing a team that you're going to potentially be going up against for playoff seeding. The Suns took care of business tonight. First half, they got off to a quick start thanks to Devin Booker and Mikal Bridges. And then it was sloppy a little bit. It was back and forth a little bit, but the Suns get it done. Initial thoughts from you two gentlemen. We'll start with you, Dave.
Man, this was an ugly game from the Suns. I mean, they played with hustle. They played with effort. The second unit really showed up when they needed to show up, when the Suns needed them to. I mean, you've got, just off the top of my head, you've got Chris Paul and Jay Crowder hardly making any shots all game. You've got Devin Booker making only a couple in the second half, and the Suns still win. And did you guys know how many turnovers Devin Booker have? Or are we talking?
I think he had 8 or 9 at one point.
8 turnovers.
Yeah.
When was the last time Devin Booker had 8 turnovers and the Suns were anywhere in the game? So good win.
Yeah.
Very good.
He was pressing because Chris Paul had a rough night, and at times you saw that where he was trying to do a little too much. But in the past, those were the games they'd lose by 30 because Devin would press, he'd get out of his rhythm, nobody else could pick up the slack, and instead tonight they pull out the 4-point win. Saul, what stood out to you in this game?
I mean, really, I think Eddie kind of touched on it earlier in the game, is that we are going to have games like this in the first 10, 15 games of the season. Nobody's going to have a rhythm. Everybody's going to be a little bit off. And I think the teams that have good veteran leadership are going to find ways to win. And I think this is where you saw Chris Paul, despite the fact that he only had 8 points, and when it really counted most, he made a play when you needed it, both defensively and offensively. And then he kind of spurred over to Booker, and Booker hit that pretty much the game-winning shot that kind of sealed the deal. So I thought that overall they could have run away with it easily. I think they're a much better team than Dallas. I think Dallas completely relies on the three way too much, like Eddie kept harping on. It's one of his little things. He's very anti-analytical, but I think to a large degree, the Suns are very much a much better team than the Dallas Mavericks. And you know what? Funny enough, earlier in the game, in the pregame show, TC didn't even have the Mavericks in the top 12, and I kind of laughed at it. But the more I watched the game, I was like, I can kind of see that. Now, I don't agree with them.
Oh, look, the Mavericks did not have Kristaps. Luka looked like he forgot there was going to be another season soon after the last one ended. The Dallas didn't look that good either. The Suns played some good defense, but Dallas just didn't look that good either. So, but it's really, really nice sign that other teams don't have to just show up to beat the Suns anymore. And Dallas is a good team. They will be a pretty good team, especially, you're right, Saul, if they don't make their three-point shots, they lose. If they make their three-point shots, they win. Not tonight necessarily, maybe tonight, but on most nights. That's how they're going to be in the playoff picture, because they're going to make enough threes to get there. And the Suns are going to be a lot more diverse on offense, and they have 2 closers. The Suns have 2 closers taking turns.
Look, if you look at tonight, this was probably a worst case scenario when you look at things that were going on with the Suns. Chris Paul doesn't play well, doesn't have much of an impact. Jay Crowder can't find his stroke, right? DeAndre Ayton gets in foul trouble. And every other big, not named Jalen Smith, which is really just Damian Jones at this point, gets in foul trouble. And by foul trouble, I mean he almost legitimately fouled out in his first quarter of play. So the Suns can't get in much of a rhythm. Their offense never starts clicking, yet their defense and some of the guys on the peripheral that you don't expect to be the guys that necessarily are going to do everything for you come up big. Campaign plays well defensively, gives a little bit of a spark offensively. Cam Johnson comes in and plays well, and it's not just shooting from deep. He cuts to the hoop. He gets baskets in close. He plays very well, gets some great assists as well in this game. The second unit was a huge deal for this team. And in particular, and you guys know I'm going to go here, and I think we're going to see a clip here in a second, and it's Langston Galloway. He comes in and he scores 11 points in 8 minutes and gets a 4-point play. He was the spark they needed as the Mavericks took the lead. He winds up being the guy that kind of keeps them afloat and puts that second unit on his back to a certain extent. The second unit scores 41 of the 106 points. And that's what the Suns were missing in previous years. In particular, at times last year, was a bench unit that can truly help them. And this was a unit that was still missing Dario Saric and Frank Kaminsky as depth in terms of bigs. So to me, that was huge for this team and the big reason why they were able to win, even though it was ugly at times, and even though Chris Paul did not play great in his Suns debut.
43 points for the big three. 43 points. I don't know if that's ever going to happen again this season. I hope it doesn't. You know, you would normally bank on 60 from those three, 60 combined somehow, some way. And they got 43. So you had to make it up somewhere else. Galloway, as you mentioned, was fantastic. Cam Johnson, man, it was like we got last year Cam Johnson in the first quarter, and then we got this year Cam Johnson in the second, third, and fourth. And it was great to see. He was phenomenal tonight. Mikal Bridges was awesome tonight. Yeah. Had his moments as well. Langston Galloway, campaign. I'm a big campaign fan. I loved him in the bubble. I continue to love him. He was the first backup guard off the bench. It wasn't Javon Carter. And I just thought campaign was lights out tonight. Did all the little things that you need to back up Chris Paul.
That defensive play where he got
to talk a little more about Mikal Bridges.
I was just saying that defensive play where campaign got that block was something special. But yes, let's talk about Mikal Bridges before we move into the box score. His impact was unbelievable, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he made 3. Look, he was the only one making threes in the first half. I think the Suns barely made any more threes than Mikal did. He had half their threes. I think he had 4 of the 8 threes. He played really well. Look, Luka Doncic is going to get his points. I don't know if we want to spend any time about how ugly it is to watch Luka Doncic play basketball. Some people just love him, but God, I don't know. I just don't like watching him play. And Mikal made it really hard on him. Mikal makes it so that Luka's only way to score is to drive at the rim. Luka didn't have any great passes because the Suns stayed home on their shooters while Mikal played as much solo defense as possible. And Luka had to really fight hard for his points. I thought Mikal was tremendous, plus the 4 threes and having some dives to the rim as well. So big props to Mikal. I thought he was pretty much their MVP tonight.
The other thing I would like to point out is like everybody was kind of in a tizzy a little bit. Some faction of Suns fans over Rubio versus Chris Paul. How much of an upgrade is that really going to be? And I think we all can agree, shooting and scoring wise, we were going to see a big jump to Chris Paul. However, I think the thing that was kind of missing in all that was the fact that Chris Paul's defensive skills are a little bit different than Rubio's. He's not he doesn't rely on that kind of tricky, kind of, close to the body stealing kind of game. He can anticipate, and you saw that in the fourth quarter when he came up with the steal at a crucial time in the game, and that made all the difference in the world. And I think that's where you see the difference in Chris Paul versus Ricky Rubio. It's those things.
I think he also had an impact on Mikal's ability to get those open shots early in the game, because his gravity on offense pulled guys in, and they were able to find Mikal, who was the open guy in a lot of those situations, which was why he got off to such a hot start offensively in that first half. But the big play that Mikal Bridges gets MVP for the game for me is that offensive rebound with just seconds left. Like that was what sealed the deal there. And it was the little things that he and Cam Johnson were able to do that are huge. And I think this team only goes as far as Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges take them, and in particularly offensively, because they're going to need those two guys to be reliable offensively at all times. Now, Langston Galloway, get your property on Langston Lagoon. I'm telling you, it's going fast. It's hot right now, but I think he's a guy that will ebb and flow throughout the season. But you need Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson to be there. So why don't we find out what's in the box? Do we want to do that? It's in the box. What's in the box? Let's talk about the box score tonight. As
box me, baby.
I was hoping Saul had some crazy.
I slacked on that one. I have all the other graphics. I'm sorry, guys, but I didn't have the box. I was too busy doing social media tonight. So
I was hoping we had like Gwyneth Paltrow's head in the box or something. Sorry, Seven reference.
My. Wow.
Hey, it's late night. It's the Lunar panel.
Wow.
We can go a little different.
I was going to go with the SNL skit with Justin Timberlake and Andy Samberg in the box.
It is Christmas, so
there you go.
It is. It's almost Christmas Eve as we do the Lunar panel here. So that would be appropriate.
This is Christmas. All right,
God, don't sing.
Wow.
Do not sing. Dear Lord, do not sing. So Suns again win 106-102 over the Dallas Mavericks in the season opener. And looking at the box score, I mean, it wasn't, as we talked about, it wasn't necessarily a pretty night. The Suns shoot 48% overall, 36 from three, which is huge. They go 11 for 30 from the three-point line. But free throws, a team that was known for how good they were at shooting free throws last year, they wind up shooting only 70%. And Devin Booker even struggled at the line, going 4 of 6. I know that's tough to say struggled, but there were a couple that caused some clenching there at the end when he missed a few. So look, not the greatest night across the board, but Devin Booker, who got off to that very hot start, finishes with 22 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. Mikal Bridges, second leading scorer with 18 points. He adds in 7 rebounds. And 2 blocks, and obviously lockdown defense on Luka, and then Cam Johnson off the bench with 15 points, 5 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. And as we mentioned, Langston Galloway with those 11 points in 9 minutes. One guy we haven't talked a lot about, and I think the box score kind of highlights one of the problems tonight. DeAndre Ayton plays 24 minutes, scores 13 points, grabs 18 boards, has a steal and 2 blocks. But the problem is
8 boards.
Oh, excuse me, 8 boards. But the problem was the 4 fouls, and the 3 that he picked up early limited him and changed his aggressiveness. I think he came out trying to show people that he was aggressive, but that hurt him in picking
he committed 3 offensive fouls in that first quarter.
I also think that the refs were very much in preseason trying to get in their own game mode as well. And I thought that killed DeAndre in the first quarter, because some of those same calls weren't getting called against him in the fourth. And I know sometimes that happens in the course of the game anyway, but man, there's like even the over the back call, I'm like, couldn't you just let that go on? Like it wasn't that big of a deal.
Let's just call it the way it is, though. He had a terrible game. I mean, he had a bad game. DeAndre Ayton was bad. Here's some things I noticed.
How was he bad? Tell me how he was outside of fouls. How was he bad? Tell me that.
Well, offensively, he didn't. He had a couple of times where he put the ball on the floor and tried to dribble into a guy, but he's still taking the fadeaway shots in the paint. Instead of driving to the hoop, he didn't make a lot of decisive moves offensively. Defensively,
how much
he
of that
played
was
pretty
impacted
active.
by having 3 fouls? You're not going to be three
No,
early
but if
fouls.
you're
You're not going to
drawing
be overly
fouls,
aggressive.
if you're drawing fouls, you're not going to worry about how many fouls you have against you. I mean, that's the
I
thing.
don't
If
think
he's
that's
still not drawing
true.
the fouls.
He knows they have no depth behind him. He gets 3 early fouls. That changes
Yeah.
a guy's approach to the game. That's
Hey, let's
all-
turn this into a positive. Jalen Smith had a hell of a first game as a rookie, didn't he? Because Damian Jones came in and was even worse than the starter. And then Jalen Smith shows up and he hits some tough shots. He's aggressive. He gets some rebounds. The Suns actually out-rebounded the Mavericks, and that's really good because the Suns had trouble with their big men being out there. So I thought that was really good gang rebounding by the team, and I thought Jalen Smith was impressive as a rookie.
I mean,
Let's
Jalen
not-
Smith hit 2 buckets. One of them was a fadeaway jumper turnaround, and the other one was a wide open dunk. I don't understand how that was a phenomenal game.
As a rookie, he didn't have any
Sure,
summer league. He had barely any training camp. He had no warm-up scrimmages before the season.
Sure,
he
but
looked
you
like
see
he
the
knew what he was
difference-
doing out there.
But I understand that he's a rookie and all that other stuff. But I'm going to go back to this. DA was not very good in the first half because he barely played. He was in foul trouble and he missed his only 3 or 4 shots that he took. Cool. In the second half, he was completely different. I would argue that he even had the most important rebound of the game in the fourth quarter, getting that bucket after an offensive rebound when the game was tied, and it kind of spurred the Suns on. So I don't know. I think there's very different lenses that people can look at DA through for sure.
3 minutes left. He grabs that board against what I think it was 3 Mavericks. He gets the offensive board. And he goes hard to the rim after he gets the board. He gets fouled and he hits the 2 free throws. That was a momentum changer in the game. And yes, that does not make up for everything else that happened. And yes, the foul trouble is concerning. Part of it was the refs. Part of it was DeAndre's decision making. And I'm not saying that this was a great game from him, but he had an impact. He made plays down the stretch that impacted this win. So look, you can hate on him, whatever you want to do.
Oh, come on.
And I'm not saying
it's
you
just
are,
calling
Dave.
him out for a game.
Dave, I'm not saying you.
Jeez.
I'm saying in general, people can hate on him if they want, but he did have an impact down the stretch.
Yep.
And I get it. This was not a good game. This was by no means a good game from DeAndre Ayton.
I will absolutely agree with you, Dave, that DA needs to be more aggressive going to the basket because he's going to have to draw fouls. And I will agree that he took way too many jump shots for my liking as well. But to say that he had a bad or he was awful, I'm just that's a little – I think that's a little –
I'm going to say Chris Paul had a bad game. Jay Crowder had a bad game.
He was minus 10.
DeAndre Ayton
Jay
had a
Crowder
bad
was
game.
minus 12. Yeah,
it's okay
sure.
to say they had a bad games because the Suns are still good enough to win. I think that was the most impressive thing is that the Suns were still able to pull out that win despite their stars. And Devin Booker had a really bad second half until he hit that one shot, which obviously was a huge important one at the end there to seal the win. But before that, I mean, he
I would say
he did not have a great sense
outside of the first quarter. I would say Devin Booker had a terrible game.
Yeah. See, now you're hating on Booker.
But see how I said outside of the first quarter, not just Devin Booker was absolutely trash. I didn't say that. You know what I mean? He was
outside
was
of setting the tone
quarter.
early and winning the game at the end.
But look, if I told you,
I'm just messing with you, man. I'm just having fun.
If I told you before this game, Crowder and Chris Paul would combine for 4 for 15 and score 12 points, and that Jalen Smith would have had to play 16 minutes because of the foul trouble for all your other big men, you would not have thought this would be a Suns win, and that they led for a majority of this game. And that's what's encouraging about this is they found the way to get things done. Guys found a way to pick this team up from the bench, and Jay Crowder, even though he didn't have a good game, he did have what I think we're probably going to call the play of the game here. And I believe Saul has this, where he gets this amazing no-look pass to Jalen Smith for the dunk, which was one of 2 buckets from Jalen Smith there. Real tough one here for him. But at least he threw it down hard. He probably could have thrown it down harder, but at least it was hard. I'm kidding. But that's the thing where a Jay Crowder, even on an off night, will have a play like that's impactful. Yeah. And in a 4-point win, a play like that's an easy bucket, obviously has a major impact. And that was one that kind of got energy going too.
Yeah, Jay did have 9 boards and 4 assists. So you're right. He other than the fact he couldn't make a shot, except the one in the fourth quarter that was really important. And talking about the fourth quarter, the Suns finally have closers, man. I mean, that's more than just the one in Devin Booker. Chris Paul made a couple of huge plays in that fourth quarter in the last 2 or 3 minutes, and that's exactly why the Suns brought him in. He was bad. He had a tough first half. He had a tough third quarter. Then he comes in the fourth, and he gets the steal and the drive, drawing the foul and the free throws, and then that jumper. And he had a couple of great passes that shots just didn't get knocked down. He was the guy when he had the ball in the fourth quarter, and then Devin Booker made a couple of big shots. So I think, or the one big shot anyway. And so it's really nice to know that the Suns are not going to make dumb mistakes in the last 2 minutes, and they can actually pull out a game. That's how you end up with a winning record in the middle of the pack in the Western Conference playoff race, is by closing out games.
You know, one of the things that was kind of cool to watch is you're starting to kind of see glimpses of what this team could look like if everybody like maximizes their potential and they all come together, right? You think about like the Warrior teams where they were really good and everybody kind of gelled together, and certain players started to step up above and beyond what their expected role was going to be. You got a glimpse of that tonight with Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges. I think that's, you know, everybody talked about losing Kelly Oubre and the energy that he provided and everything that he brought to this team. Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges absolutely stepped through that door and said, "Hey, don't worry, we got this." You know what I mean? And so it's just that's what excited me the most out of tonight, is watching those 2 young men play a phenomenal game.
Yeah. Just having all those guys carry over from the bubble. You got Cam Johnson, who was better in the bubble than during the season before that. Cam Payne, Javon Carter had a quietly good game. He didn't have a big impact this game, but he was still good. And so all those bubble guys really came back into this season, showing that it wasn't just a mirage in the bubble, and that was really positive for me.
Yeah, I mean the plain white tee Cam Johnson, he was just doing little things we didn't see him do before, and not just settling for that 3, but getting to the hoop and making those plays, and that's what I really liked out of him.
Also, I'm sorry, I thought you were going to sneeze or something. I thought you were taking a breath. Real quick before I drop this whole DA moment, I know you think he didn't play well, Dave, but defensively he was outstanding tonight. Deflected many shots. He got even deflected a Doncic shot from the perimeter. You know, he played a solid defensive game overall. There was one point in time on defense that I was like, "What are you doing, DA?" Like he was solid all the way through.
I'll give him that.
I've been able to say that in a long time.
Oh, really? No, I'm usually real happy with his defense, and you're right. He was good on the non-box score stat kind of defense that he has been very good at. Good positioning, good deterring guys from taking shots at the rim or even driving all the way to the rim. He was very good in those things, absolutely. And pivoting and sliding, that was all good. Yes, I guess I'm focusing more on the offensive game.
Look, again, not coddling DeAndre Ayton, it was not a good game. I'm not saying that, but I think it's so many people look at it as all or nothing with him, and there were good moments tonight for sure. 2 things I want to bring up. Thank you to Sai, one of the flaming ballers in the chat, who threw in a $5 donation on YouTube saying, Dave, please never sing again. So I'm very thank you for that.
Everyone in my life has said the same thing.
Dave's never going to see that $5, but please do not sing ever again, Dave.
I got to see the donation in here, and then I won't. I promise. You guys do that donation? Did I miss it?
Yes, and also I want to say I'm glad, regardless of if it's 8 a.m. on a Saturday or midnight on a Thursday, Dave's internet still sucks. So I'm glad that is becoming a tradition here on the Sun solar panel or the lunar panel, as we're calling it here. But you've heard enough from us right now about this game. Let's listen to a man who knows a lot more about this team and hear what head coach Monty Williams had to say after the game.
Well, it's one game. You know, I don't want to make declarations about this team, but we've shown, you know, since I've been here, and we brought in guys that we feel like are resilient. And with the foul trouble, you know, Jalen stepping in there and playing well, Langston coming off the bench. There's a resiliency about our group to just stay the course. And so that's something that we can, you know, hang our hat on and grow from.
Yeah, I think that speaks volumes. And Monty hits the nail on the head. It's one game. And you know that's what he's preaching to these guys too. Great. You won the first game of the season. You know how many times you did that when you finished with 19, 20 wins, talking to a handful of guys who experienced that? It happens. Now you need to go out there and do it again, you know, and build on this and go into Sacramento and learn from the mistakes in game one. You know, it's nothing given, everything earned is the mentality here. And I like when you hear Monty say that as well.
Oh man, come on! So says Jay. You guys live beats those commercials. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Every time I see the commercial, I'm like, man, we need to redo that one.
Yeah, we do.
Especially the one Dave talks in. Yeah, we
definitely need to do it with Dave's hamster Wi-Fi over there. So,
oh man.
So when you look at it, Monty talks about, you know, the one game, the grittiness of these guys, and kind of the mentality. Is it sustainable? The one game, we look at it, is this going to become the hallmark of the Suns team, this grittiness? Is it repeatable? What do you guys think? Saul, why don't we start with you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think it's repeatable because Monty's going to preach defense more than anything else. Defense, and it'll lead to offense. And I think this team is buying in defensively. You know, even in the first half, you got Mikal right off the rip, blocking Luka to start the game. Like, okay, well, there's the tone setter. You know, and then after that, Campaign had a couple blocks. You know, DA had a couple blocks. Like, overall, this team didn't fall apart because defensively they were pretty good. They're not even good. They're not even as great as they're going to be this year. It's game one. Everybody's learning. So I think this is absolutely something that they can build on moving forward. Right now, it's just survive and move on to the next game. You know, you're not really, you know, looking for a world-beating performance or the chemistry to be perfect. It's going to take some time. I wouldn't even look for that until you get to at least February. And then you'll start to see this team gel midway through February and really be the team that we think they're going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's repeatable. I because they have the two closers, because Chris Paul is one of the best clutch players in the NBA. Devin Booker is one of the better clutch players in the NBA as well. And you've got Mikal Bridges doing all the little things. You got Cam Johnson doing all the little things. Jay Crowder is going to have better games. These guys are good, and we haven't even seen Dario yet. And I'm a big fan of Dario because he does the little things. He does the stuff to win games. He doesn't look real pretty when he's bulldozing his way down toward the rim or anything like that, but he is a dog, and he gets things done. Campaign, Javon Carter, they got a lot of guys who are not going to wilt under pressure, and I'm really looking forward to watching these guys this season. That's for sure.
Look, we have to ask that question because we've seen this script before to start a season, and you just have to throw it out there. I agree, this team will get better. I'm actually glad that it started at kind of a lower point, because if they'd come out fired on all cylinders, people would freak out when they had the inevitable game where they didn't look as good, because this team had a truncated training camp. There's all these weird COVID restrictions, so you're not building team chemistry like you normally do in a season. So yes, of course they're going to get better. I just wanted to throw that out there as we look at this. Well, I want to move. We've talked analysis of this game, but it wouldn't be a lunar panel or a sun solar panel without a little fun, right? So we are introducing a new segment here that we're going to call Hot or Not. And no, for those of you that grew up in the 90s, we are not looking at pictures late night on the internet and telling you if somebody's hot or not. That is not what we're doing.
This is not the original Facebook, okay?
But I can tell you, the Silver Fox texts me, not. All right, we'll just go there. But let's actually, the premise of this, guys, is I'm going to show you each a tweet. You're going to tell me, is this an actual hot take or not an actual hot take from tonight's game on the internet? The first one, I think Jalen Smith was playing an air guitar to celebrate that Booker 3 #reporting. Is this a hot take or not a take at all?
I'm going to say not a take.
Dave?
I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to give it credit. I'll give that hot take. I really hope he was playing air guitar when that 3 went in. That was great.
Guess what? This was actually somebody that's a legit reporter that tweeted this. This was our friend Gina Mizell on Twitter, who now is working for the team, who tweeted that out. That is that is a hot take from tonight's game. Let's move on to number 2, because everybody likes a late night game show, so why the heck not? So number 2 is Chris Saul is neck deep in that tub. He's what we call washed like a load of clothes in the spin cycle. Is this a hot take or not a take at all?
Hey, Saul, is your buddy on Twitter? I got to know that before I answer the hot take or not take.
My buddy on Twitter. What are you talking about?
It was your buddy that said he was so close. He's not in the bathtub, but he's standing next to it.
Oh, Corey Williams.
Corey, yes, that's it.
No,
is he on Twitter?
Yeah, he is on Twitter, actually. Yes.
Oh,
so is this a hot take or not a take?
I'm gonna say not.
It is not a take. It is not a take. It is not a take. I made that one up. So Dave is 2-0 and Saul is 1 of 1. So let's see the final one. Not too many top picks getting 3 fouls in the first 3 quarters in their 3rd year. A lot of threes there. You'd think Ayton would have learned by now. Overreaction equals Ayton continued to walk the line between mediocrity and bust. Is this a hot take from tonight or not a take at all, gentlemen? Saul, we'll start with you.
Just need to rub my ears. Woosah. I'm going to say it is a take. I'm going to say it's a hot take. It's a hot trash take. But I'm going to say somebody probably said that because there's a lot of people that say that kind of stupid stuff on Twitter all the time.
I have a lot of, yeah. I'm going to have to guess. I didn't see that one, but I'm going to have to guess that's actually a real take.
That is a hot take from at Dallas TC. The reason you didn't see it, it was actually tweeted directly to me in a reply. So yes, that is a hot take. Dave goes 3-0 in a hot or not. Because Dave spends.
I'm almost like DA's record against Luka.
Here's before we all go, and I know I'm kind of throwing this. I know I'm kind of stealing the show, Espo. So just put the gun down. But if you guys didn't see Tom Chambers' West, top 12 teams in the West, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but it was very like what? And so I kind of wanted to see what people thought about it. This is his projected Western Conference standings. He has the Suns finishing in 8th. He has the Dallas Mavericks not even in the top 12. And he has the Minnesota Timberwolves at 6.
Okay. And he has, I'm sorry. TC,
what's going on here?
TC, if you'd like to make a wager on this, I am happy to make a wager with you on this. There is not a chance in the world that the Minnesota Timberwolves wind up higher in the Western Conference than the Phoenix Suns. There's not a chance that happens. I'm sorry.
And there's no way the Kings win more than the Mavericks.
Look, the Suns very well might wind up 8th in the West. I understand that. Fine. But I just do not see any way in the world that the Timberwolves finish there at 6. And I'm even going to go hotter take here. I think the Phoenix Suns wind up with a better record than the Portland Trailblazers. I do not understand the obsession with Portland this year. Charles Barkley, the other night, TC's teammate in the 92-93 season there, talking about how he's going to wager $100,000 on Portland to win the West, and TC putting them at 4. I don't see that at all. I do not understand the fascination with them, and I really don't understand TC's fascination with Minnesota. I respect TC's basketball knowledge. Obviously played the game a lot longer than me at a hell of a higher level than I ever did. I just don't get. I don't understand the Minnesota.
I understand the fact that you might have played the game. That's cool. That helps you see things within the game that help, when you're doing your color analyst stuff or whatever. But I mean, that doesn't mean that everything that is going into these things, right? So if that were the case, Michael Jordan would be the best owner of all time as well, because he was the best player. You know what I mean? So
just because you played. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I got to disagree with my man TC, man. I just I saw that today. I was like, oh, somebody in the chat said, I think that's one too many Kevin Willis elbows to the head for TC.
Look, TC could still, dunk on me, nutmeg me like he did with Mark Jackson. The hoop would have to be 8 feet, but he could still do it. He'd still score 60 on me if I were trying to play defense on him. He is a much better athlete at this point than I ever have been in my life. But yeah, I'm sorry. I do not see Portland or Minnesota in that the way he has it. Maybe
here's my hot take.
Just for clarification, Eddie Johnson had the Suns at 6, and the Timberwolves were at I think 11 or 10. So that was a little bit.
That's even high for the Wolves. I think they'll be around 13 or 14.
I could see that. If
my hot take is, though, the Suns are going to be better than Utah this year.
I could see it.
Yeah, Utah has peaked, I think, with their current iteration, and they just gave Rudy $200 million to experience the downhill slide. I just think they have capped off as high as they're going to go in the West, and I think the Suns are going to be better this year.
I think they could wind up being a 4-5 matchup, the Jazz and Suns. There's a world where that happens, because I think they're kind of like the Western Conference Spider-Man meme right now. They look at each other and there's an awful lot of, hey, I kind of recognize that myself and you between those two teams. A lot of that.
Yeah, for sure. And then another thing off the broadcast, obviously, they pounded this thing to no end tonight. I think you know what I'm talking about, right, Espo? The good old banana boat. The banana boat. Now, they had Monty, Aiden, Booker, and Chris Paul on the banana boat. But my question to you guys, imagine this. You thought I was going to get away with this, huh? Imagine this. Yeah, I got that. Here we go. Imagine this. Who's on your banana boat?
For the Suns or in general?
Just whoever. In general, let's have fun with this. Who's on your banana boat?
Well, first off, I don't get the banana boat here in Phoenix. Are they on Tempe Town Lake? And if so, why is there so many waves in Tempe Town Lake, right?
It's a windy day.
Plus, I'm uncomfortable with the thought of riding any fruit. I don't know. That's just weird to me.
It's not a real banana.
It sure looked like it in that graphic. I'm weirded out by that.
Have you never been on a banana boat?
No. Do I look like a guy that spends a lot of time at the beach in a swimsuit?
I've been on a banana boat.
No,
it's fun.
I have not been on a banana boat, nor do I expect to be invited on a banana boat anytime soon.
This is hilarious.
Here we go. We're going to go to like Canyon Lake, and you and I are going to go on a banana boat, buddy.
Okay.
You guys tell me how it went. I'll be
you're going on a banana boat.
No, I ain't going.
Fine, right? Saul can be one of my guys on the banana boat with me.
There we go.
All right.
That's all I wanted to hear. That was the whole thing. That was the whole reason why I even put that up, is so I could be on Espo's banana boat.
Saul just wanted to get me to agree to ride a banana boat with him. All right. If that's the case, I think Kristen McDougal has to go on that banana boat too, just for the awkwardness of her doing a 48, for Fox Sports Arizona on the banana boat with us, because that would just be very weird. And then I want Shaq on our banana boat too.
Shaq
Because-
will sink it.
Well, I'm kind of a heavy guy, so we need somebody to balance it out. I hate to admit it, but Shaq's probably, only 80 pounds heavier than me at this point.
Dude,
So
no,
I need to even out that banana boat.
You're trying
All
to put yourself down, Espo. There's no way he's only 80 pounds
right.
heavier than you.
So
There's
my
just-
banana boat is going to be former co-host Tim Tompkins, Saul, Espo.
Screw you, Dave.
What? You said you're on it.
No, it's
too.
Saul.
My bad. I jumped the gun. My bad.
Espo. It's the
Thought it
four
was
of us on the saddest banana boat in the history of banana boats.
Blaze is in Megatron in the chat, and one of our flaming ballers is of the same mindset. He says, "Banana boat,
Yeah.
Dave, Espo, Saul, and Tim hanging off the back." I'll take it.
Oh my gosh!
No,
you know
Tim
what?
gets a seat.
Rick Johnson is correct. We should all go to bed.
You should. That is correct. It is now almost
All right, Rick.
12:30, so we're going to wrap up this first edition of the Suns Lunar panel, as we're calling it.
The
We will
banana
not do this
panel.
I'm sorry, we're not doing this after every game because
No.
I'm an old man.
No one wants
to
to see us doing this
But-
after every game.
but we
Special
will-
games. Yeah, go ahead.
And we'll do it after marquee games, special games. We'll choose it. Maybe, who knows? If it's a big enough game, maybe we'll do a pre-game show and a post-game show if it's big enough. But we'll be here. But we will be back on Saturday, 8 a.m. Arizona time, slaving away for you guys the day after Christmas
That's
to
right,
talk
baby.
more Suns. So thank you so much to our friends at Fox Sports Arizona for all the help, the promotion, for letting us borrow Saul, and for all the highlights on tonight's show. Make sure to follow all their social channels. In particular, head over to their Facebook page and hit that like, because you can see us there every Saturday morning, and all these special editions of the show we'll do. He is the Silver Fox, Dave King, at Dave King NBA.
Happy holidays, everybody.
The NBA is there because, well, he's not with anybody else late night. He's with us, so he needs
That's
to make
right.
himself feel
That's
better.
my whole life is NBA.
And the Carmel Thunder from down under it is Saul Bookman. You can find him on Twitter at Saul_Bookman. I am at Espo on Twitter. You can always follow the show at Sun Solar Panel on Twitter as well. So for the guys, we'll talk to you next time here on what will be the Solar Panel. But thanks and good night from the Lunar Panel. The Suns win 106-102 season opener against the Dallas Mavericks, behind 22 from Devin Booker and 11 in 8 minutes from Langston Galloway. Get your Langston Lagoon property now. We'll talk to you next time here Saturday morning on the Sun Solar Panel.